All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Sisters for Harmony. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Kathleen Walls, with Brother Umoja. How are you doing, Brother Umoja? We can't hear you. We've been having some technical difficulties here. No, we still can't hear you. We heard you earlier. You might have to go back out and come back in. I know Ruby was having problems with sound, and so was Shanae. All right, good evening, everyone. As you're coming in, please let us know where you're coming in from. We are super excited. We have two great guests here this evening. We have Shanae Adams from Wellness from the Womb, who is a doula, a therapist, and my cousin. And we also have Ieshia Harrison, who is from Khiata, and I might have said that wrong, so she's going to correct me. Muslimah Ware, and I had the fantastic honor of seeing her work during Philly Fashion Week at Loving My Curves. So I am going to bring in my co-host first. Hopefully, we have some sound from them, and then we're going to get everybody rolling. Hello, Leslie. Let me know if you can hear me okay, please. All right, Brother Moja, let's see. No, we can't hear you yet. So, all right, go back out. We'll try again. I feel like we playing pop up. Let's see, Ruby, do we have you? Ruby, it seems to be some Wi Fi challenges, but we hear something. All right, Leslie says she can hear me. All right, Ruby, I'm going to keep trying you. I'm going to take you out. Shanae, I'm coming for you next. Let's hope we got some sound here. Let's see. How are we doing?
I can hear you.
Yes, we got some sound. I'm so glad. All right. Good evening, cousin. How are you?
I'm good.
All right. We're hopefully going to get Brother Moja and Ruby. I know Ieshia, we have her sound. So I'm going to get ready to pull her up too. Brother Moja keeps dipping in and out. I feel like I'm playing whack a mole or something because
Yeah.
people just coming and going, coming and going. All right. And Leslie says she can hear us. So that's good to know. So we can rock and roll. Let's try Ruby again. Ruby, you there? Ruby, we see you, but we can't hear you. All right. No. You
Hello.
smiling. There we go. All right. We got a little bit of lag on your end, Ruby.
Okay, yeah, I had to use my phone. The link wouldn't show up on my email on my iPad.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Brother Emoji is rolling up in here too. We're gonna try and see if we can hear him now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I think it's my microphone. My headset went dead. Let me see. Let me put my headset back in.
No, leave it out. Let's
Can
go with what we have. No, we cannot hear you. And you're on mute right now.
you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Oh no, my microphone went bad on me. My headset.
Okay. So we got, and now I'm gonna just go on and bring Aisha in. I had a whole plan. It was gonna be smooth, but seeing how we choppy, let's just roll with it. Look, hey Aisha,
Hello, everybody.
we got to take advantage of this moment that everybody is in the space. Look, okay,
Yep.
all right. So welcome to Sisters for Harmony. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, Sisters for Harmony started out as Sisters in Harmony in 2009 in honor of Brother Umoja's mother. And so he started this organization then. He and Ruby took it literally around the world and did blog talk radio for 10 years before putting it to rest for a little while. And in this year, June, we decided to bring it back up. And because we had to change the state, because Sisters for Harmony is a registered nonprofit, we needed to change the name from Sisters in Harmony, which was no longer available, to Sisters for Harmony. And Brother Moja, anything you want to say about Sisters in Harmony slash upgraded 2.0 Sisters for Harmony?
Nope, you said it all.
Well, and one of the, our mission and our purpose is to unite, is to network, mentor, and educate women and mentor as well. And one of the statements that Ruby and Edmund would always say was they also wanted to put more positive images of women back in the community on a mental, physical, and spiritual level. And so, Ieshia, when I saw your work at the fashion show, I was like, oh, we have to have her on the show because she just totally fits the bill. And with your message of modesty, yes, I was like, we got to talk. And with Shanae, who is a doula and a mental health therapist, and she brings maternal health and mental health together, which is so, so needed. And just this idea of mentoring and connecting the next generation, the next group of people together. She literally helps to bring life. And my tagline for her is that she brings life to, what does it say, to food, to families, and to fashion. So I said, all right, I'm going to have these two tonight on the show, and we're going to go from there. So welcome, 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 everyone. Ruby, anything you want to say while we have you on before we start asking them questions and hearing their stories?
I would just like to say that before we get started, ladies, and welcome to Sisters for Harmony. I just want to say for anyone who's listening, who's a breast cancer survivor or domestic violence survivor, I would like to say we honor you and we appreciate you. And anyone who's going through that struggle right now, our prayers are with you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And that's so important. And Brother Amoja, I know domestic violence is very, very close to your heart. Would you like to take a moment and speak?
Well, I got me off guard that one. Yeah, yeah, definitely because I come out of that with an abusive alcoholic father, and so whenever this month, October rolls around, it means a lot to me because we stop and we think about the women and they are men who are going through domestic violence, and and the greatest thing, one of the most important thing we have to remember is that the children are affected on
Right.
some level. So, as we go through this month of domestic violence awareness and breast cancer awareness, I think
Mm-hmm.
we always remember what the children go through because when the parents hurt, the children hurt. Mostly when the mothers hurt, the children hurt. And so we have
Mm-hmm.
to remember that as we go through this month.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. We have people saying hi in the chat room. Hi, Lori. Hi, Regina. Hi, Leslie. And others who are listening, please be sure to chime in on the chat so we can see you as you hear different topics come up. Please be sure you can ask questions, you can leave your comments, and we will get to them as much as we can. Now, Shanae, you and I were talking the other day about this first week in October and what it represents and signifies. And I didn't even know this was a thing, but this is why it's so important that we talk to people because we learn from other people. So, what makes this week so unique?
Well, this week is midwifery week, but the month of October is pregnancy and infant loss awareness month as well.
Mm-hmm. So, tell us a little bit about you. Now, you're a doula, you're not a midwife. So, tell us
Correct.
a little bit about the work that you do and what is the difference between a doula and a midwife?
So, a midwife is medically trained to deliver babies. A lot of people confuse the two and think that they're one and the same, but they're not. A doula is not medically trained to deliver babies in any way. As a doula, I provide emotional, physical, and mental support as well as resources. So, with my services, I provide birth planning sessions for my clients where they go in and have an idea of what they want done during labor and delivery before they get into labor and delivery. I do childbirth education as far as what to expect, as well as expecting the unexpected with pregnancy and delivery, because anything can happen. No pregnancy is the same, and no labor and delivery is the same. And then I also do lactation education for parents who choose to breastfeed. I help with picking out bottles and, because nipple size and all those things affect feeding. And then I also offer postpartum visits and mental health services for that.
Mm-hmm. Ruby, you look like you're taking it all in. You have some questions for Shanae?
No, I'm just agreeing because I do find that, like, my sister, she wasn't able to breastfeed. She wanted to. She kept trying, and I think it was mentally she just couldn't do it. And if she had someone like her, it would have helped her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tell a lot of my clients, a lot of times we have expectations that we put on ourselves, especially when it comes to breastfeeding. I see a lot of clients get frustrated or feel defeated if it's not going as smoothly as they expected it to from the beginning. But a lot of times people don't realize it has to do with your diet. Your water intake is a big factor, whether or not your milk comes in. So, and then I tell people, you can be eating and breastfeeding, but if you're only eating once a day, even though you're producing milk, you're feeding a baby empty calories. So that's why the baby's still hungry and crying, because it's really not getting anything to stick to them. But yeah, so just a lot of education, because people have expectations that they hear other people's stories and they think that their story is going to be the same, and it's not. And then they feel frustrated or defeated when it's not going as smoothly as they expected it to.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you end up tying that mental health piece into the maternal health?
So, like I said, there's a lot of things that come along with pregnancy. Emotions is one of them. And, although pregnancy, labor and delivery, all those things are a joyous occasion, it comes with a lot of uncertainties, a lot of fears, a lot of stress, a lot of factors emotionally. So, my stance was, before I was a doula, I was a clinician in a school setting in Philadelphia. And I wondered how different would the outcome be for children if the mothers were provided with resources prior to having the children while they're pregnant. So that's how it started. That's how the thought started. And then now I've had, deliveries and worked with different moms. A lot of people have the same struggles when it comes to mental and emotional issues that just come along with pregnancy. Sleep deprivation, stress, just not feeling, or sometimes feeling inadequate because, like I said, especially with breastfeeding, things aren't going as smoothly as they expected it to.
Now, I know one stressor I'm going to bring up in a minute, but I want to bring Ieshia's voice into this conversation as our fashion expert here. Do you deal with fashion and pregnancy?
It's funny, but believe it or not, a lot of my customers, well, quite a few of my customers are pregnant customers who, of course, have those insecurities with being pregnant and, this not fitting this way or this not looking this way or the bump is kind of in the way and things like that, So I, just try to put my best foot forward and just try to remember how I felt when I was, carrying my children and being very mindful of that because I know it's a sensitive time for my customer, and I want them to know that it's so much bigger than just the clothing that I'm providing the services for. So I love dealing with my mommies with the bumps because I feel like you could definitely still be beautiful, and about 80% of the time we don't feel that way while carrying child, but just knowing that it's definitely possible, it's big.
Now, Now tell us a little bit, Ieshia. Tell us about you. How did you get into this fashion world? Y'all, I just have to tell you. So I was at the Love of My Curves fashion show. What was that, 2 weeks ago on the 23rd of September for Philly
Yes.
Fashion Week? And I was strutting my stuff as the red carpet host. And all these fashions were coming through and they were fantastic. And you'll meet some of the other designers. But I have to tell you, when Ieshia, your collection came out, I was blown away because I was never expecting what I saw. Never expecting. And so, as you're talking, I'm going to pull up some images so that
Okay.
people can see your work.
Okay.
But you go ahead and then I'm going to chime in. Y'all, I was just floored away. So, go ahead. How did you even get into fashion and this whole idea of creating Muslim wear and so forth? Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. So my name is Ieshia. I am the owner and founder of Khiata Muslimah wear. Khiata is Arabic for seamstress and dressmaker. How I came upon making garments or making Islamic attire is that I took my Shahada about 3 years ago. I used to cover when I was in high school, practice when I was in high school, took a very long break, and then eventually venture back into it. And when it came time to me for me to find garments and things like that, it was such a struggle. Like I couldn't find things that were modest but stylish, things
Hmm.
that I liked. So I said, you know what, I went in Target, bought me a sewing machine, watched a YouTube video, and that was it. I watched a YouTube video on how to make a long maxi skirt. I made it that same exact day, and it was off to the races.
Mm,
So I always felt like if I did go into designing Muslim attire, I would be my best billboard.
hmm.
I can exemplify my fashion, my style, my designs, my vision best on myself.
Hmm.
So I felt like with that had to always come a level of comfortableness because I don't wear the normal garments. If it's safe to say that. I mean, I cover from head to toe, but my garments are, you know, not like your everyday garment. I want to say that. And I also wanted to push for my customers when I did start taking customers that you could definitely be stylish, you could be modest, you could be, your outfit can stand out, all while being covered. A lot of people misconstrue in their religion that you are supposed to just wear all black and you can't
That's
have no
right.
style, you can't be flashy. And I don't feel like my garments are flashy. I feel like my garments are stylish. It's a difference. So that's kind of where it stemmed that from me. For me, my guideline with styling is I love texture. I love different texture. I love mixing textures. I love stepping outside the box and using fabrics that aren't usually used to achieve the looks that I achieve. Um, that's really it. So, ultimately, a person would see something on a mannequin and see it on me, and it'd be two different feelings about it. So,
Hmm.
okay, so I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around cover every day, myself and my daughter, and we're going to wear my designs. And it just took off from there.
Oh,
Hmm. Come
Um,
on, bro.
nice.
and I'm talking about stemming from porch furniture fabric, upholstery, lining. Like that jacket right there is made out of
Hmm.
lining.
Wow.
It's made out of lining. What's supposed to go inside of a coat, inside of a garment.
Mm,
Um, but I like to use different fabrics that I can structure the way I want to structure them. So a lot of my fabrics aren't ideal, honestly. Um, so like that fabric right there is a cotton that should be used to cover your tables with.
mm.
So I'm sourcing fabric from all over because I like what I like. I even had car seat cover. One of the silver garment was car
Oh,
seat
yes.
cover.
Really? Let me find
Mhm.
that silver
The
one.
padding.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's car seat covering.
Oh, wait a minute. Gotta go. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's a little video.
Yeah. So, like I said, texture is big to me. And my creative space is where I operate best in. And I love the fact that I could bring style to modesty because you don't have to just be Muslim to be modest. Modest is
Mm-hmm.
a mindset. Everything doesn't always have to be visual.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, your skin being shown and things like that, you could be very stylish and be completely covered. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I wanted to exemplify with my line, with my garments, for my business. Modesty does not mean you're less than at best.
Mm-hmm.
Modesty shows truly who you are because you can stand out in a crowd of people completely covered.
Yes. I had to say it was that denim with the leather
Oh yeah,
that took me out. I said right there.
that was me backstage.
That
Addressing my customers. I'm addressing my models. It was, and I made my garment. So that's me in the ruse. I made my garment backstage that morning.
yes. And that was the other thing, y'all. She made it when they said, I heard that you made this backstage this morning. And I think
Yeah,
you said standing up.
yeah, because I didn't have a chair, so I had my serger and the table, and I made everything standing up.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. All right, brother Moja. I know you have so many thoughts and questions right now. Come on.
Really, I do. Okay.
Yes.
No, being I have done a lot of work at the Islamic family in New York when I lived in New York and stuff like that. I'm glad to see what she's doing because, like you said, you can still be stylish and modest. And I think we as a people, as we see the world get smaller and smaller and we travel a lot, I think we get to the point where respect is important. We might not agree, but respect what someone is doing because everyone has their stuff that they do, their calling. And so she took her call and she went on YouTube and learned how to do her first dress. Went to the store and bought a sewing machine. And I think that's I'm smiling about it because that's a very important message to young
Mhm.
people that you can do it if you want to do it.
Yes.
There's ways to get things done. I got my degree in aerospace electronics. I started electronics as a little kid playing on radios. Okay, it was just so what she just said is very important, and Shanae said the same thing about what she explained the difference between a doula and a midwife. There are ways for, as we talk and our young people are listening, there are ways for you to live your dream. Don't let anyone take it away from you. You have a sister who's a Muslim designer. She does clothes for Muslim sisters. Do you do any men clothing?
Yes, I do, and I don't just sew for Muslims. I sew for people who aren't Muslim as well.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. And you see, and that's important that within the system, there's a system within the system.
Right.
Okay, and so when we say that and we let young people understand, it's like you might want to do this, and there's something inside of it you could do even better. So
Yep.
look at all the aspects, the 360 degrees to everything, and don't think because you can't do one, that means you can't do all. Because you
Right.
can't
Mhm.
do one, go to the other part, go to another, look at it from a different angle. Well, I like doing this, let me do this. And so having her on now and hearing her story, I'm smiling. I was laughing when she talked about YouTube. When YouTube, man, gets a lot of play.
Yeah.
And I think that's important that, as we talk about the social media, Dr. Walls, and the
Mhm.
stuff that social media, we have to understand there's a plus and a minus to everything.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so, depending on your mindset, where are you going to go and what are you going to do? And I think this is a beautiful thing having on talking about that. So I mean, I'm listening. I'm locked onto the YouTube part. When she said she went to the store and she bought a sewing machine. She went to her first, and that's really cool. Just do it. Just go start some. Find a way to get it started. And I truly believe, from a spiritual perspective, and I'll say it like this: if you prepare yourself for the walk, Allah will guide you down that path.
Yes.
Mhm.
That
Okay.
is so true.
And
Yeah.
so when we look at it from that perspective, you say, you know what, let me take the first step. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. She took the first step. She went to YouTube. She went to the store and bought the sewing machine. And Allah has guided her to where she is right now. So that's the blessing. You can look at it from a Christian perspective, a Hebrew perspective. We must understand that we have greatness inside of us. And you have two women in here today that have greatness inside of them.
I'm looking at what Dr. Wade put up. She said the problem we encounter often leads us to our purpose.
Yeah. Well, you know, they said one thing they said during the enslavement of our ancestors, the majority of things was designed by the slaves because they wanted to find an easier way to get things done. And, you know, and their owners, their masters, took credit for it, but you know, they're the one who figured out how to get things done because they were tired of working so hard.
Well, it's interesting because the next thing that Dr. Wade put up, and if anybody needs a veterinarian in the Philadelphia area or surrounding area, you can go to see Dr. Louise Wade at Wyncote Animal Hospital. All right. So Dr. Wade said, as we walk in our purpose, we often arrive at solutions to our problems and so many other people's problems. Shanae, as you're listening to this, and you know, when we first really connected with each other as cousins and as family, you wanted to be a therapist. And so you went on that route. But then all of a sudden in the last couple of years, the doula piece rose up for you. And how did that rise up for you?
Like I said, it made sense. It was really just a question that I had to myself with servicing the children that I serviced as a clinician, and a lot of their behavioral issues. I saw that the missing component was that a lot of the parents weren't doing their part as far as following through with, you know, recommendations off the treatment plan. And then I thought, well, everything is learned behavior. So is the parent just doing what they know, and not necessarily a lack of parenting, but how different would the outcome be if the parent was provided with resources and support before the child was ever even born, while the child, you know, was in utero. So that's how it was just a question that I had to myself initially. And then once I started working with clients, you know, a lot of my clients express the same concerns, stresses, fears that come with pregnancy, that come with co-parenting, that come with marriage. A lot of my couples are married or living with their child's father, and you know, everybody had similar issues. So I forget who, I think you said Dr. Wade said, you know, you find a solution to your problem. And I reflect back on, I have 2 children, and I reflect back on my pregnancies with them. How different would they have been if I had, you know, I had great support, but how different would they have been if I had doula support, or if I had someone with a mental health background to help me navigate through my pregnancies. Son, I had an induction. Knowing what I know now as a doula, I know that I could have opted out of the induction because it wasn't medically necessary at the time. And you know, I could have went full term and carried my son full term because he wasn't in any immediate danger that he had formed early.
I know Shanae and I have talked about doing a call, like a Zoom, with educating people about what additional services doulas can provide. So definitely for those who are listening, be on the lookout for that. That'll be coming hopefully in 2023. I like to give her little nudges now and again. So we'll see, but that will be coming up. Ruby, any questions for either of these ladies?
No, I just wanted to say that what you all are doing is amazing. And the fact that you follow your heart. Something that someone said to me was that when you see a problem, you can either watch it or you can solve it. And I just believe that we all were put here for a purpose. And there are issues that we need to solve. And you all have found your niche.
Yeah, yeah. Shanae, as I'm listening to Aisha talk about the fashion space, and I think about you with fashion, and I think about some of your clients who are fashion oriented, they're in the fashion industry as well. Um, Motherhood, pregnancy, fashion, how has that shown up for you?
For me personally,
For you personally, and for you as a doula.
as a doula, like I was just saying, pregnancy is not when we feel our best. It's especially the further along we get in our pregnancy, we
Mm-hmm.
don't feel as beautiful as everybody tells us we are, or as
Mm-hmm.
everybody tries to make pregnancy look. The swollen feet, ankles, and everything. Just this not giving I feel good about myself today. So, yeah, like I have a client who is a fashionista,
Mm-hmm.
and she even during pregnancy she made it work, and she was styling, and she had some good stuff going for pregnancy. But it's just about whatever you feel comfortable in.
Mm-hmm.
But
And I
comfort doesn't always have to look like you just rolled out of bed. It can still be fashionable.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking that after pregnancy body, I know as I've worked with
Yes.
women, okay, I'm gonna let you talk. That was a heavy yes. Go ahead.
Well, no, just like in the, we're in the age of social media, so everybody has a quick snapback, but that's not realistic. So again, it
Mhm.
goes back to expectations, and expectations versus reality. You
Mhm.
want to have a quick snapback, but the reality may be that your body is just not designed to snap back quickly. You may have to put in more
Mhm.
effort. You may have to learn some tips and tricks to, hide a fupa or do
Mhm.
something differently.
Mhm. I'm thinking, Aisha, any thoughts about that? The after pregnancy body and how to help women with that in
So
fashion.
um I feel like, after the whole aftermath of pregnancy is like a whole different entity. Because you feel like, okay, so now I done dropped this baby, and you have all these expectations, and it's really like minute by minute after that. It's
Mhm.
not day by day, it's like minute by minute. So I just
Mhm.
making a conscious effort first before clothing your outer body, work on your inner what's inside,
Come on. Come on.
because you know the clothing is just a covering. But
Mhm.
we tend to be a lot of times dressed up mess
Mhm.
from the inside.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I know like that's such a fragile state after having
Mhm.
children.
Mhm.
So, just trying to clothe your inside first,
Yes.
I think,
Yeah.
and then you'll find your lane and your line moving
Mhm.
forward, because you'll
Mhm.
feel good in almost anything after that, because the inside is feeling a lot better.
That's right. Yeah.
That's kind of what the focus should be more on at that point, because you go through such a huge change. Like you have
Yeah.
now shared your body with a human for this long, and now
Mhm.
they're out there good. Your top priority is nurturing them, but we tend to forget about us. And then you
Mhm.
look in the mirror, you upset, you might slip into a little slight depression, those kind
Mhm.
of things. So just like really like loving on you.
Mhm.
And with each pregnancy, your style might change after the baby. You
Mhm.
might have liked it a little bit more tighter back then, but now you want it a little bit more looser because you don't feel like all the friction.
Mhm.
So it just really just feels like, I feel like working on your inside first will
Yes.
then guide you, you know, which direction you would take in fashion. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel once that inside is good, that core is getting better, you can put on
Mhm.
a trash bag and you'll be good.
Mhm.
You know?
Real talk.
So I feel
Real
like,
talk.
yeah, I feel like clothing really is, the outer cover. But I feel
Yeah.
like, a lot of times we definitely, especially with such a fragile time after childbirth, have to work on the
Mhm.
inside. We got to work on the inside daily.
All the
Like
time.
baby, no baby.
Yes.
Pregnancy, no pregnancy. But,
Yes.
it's much more fragile and tender during those months of pregnancy and then after having the baby. All
Mhm.
that comes along with that. So,
Mhm.
I say the sky is the limit after you
Yes.
have a baby. Do what makes you feel amazing.
Mhm.
If it's putting on new clothes, then so be it. If it's
Yeah,
calling me for order, then so be it.
that's
If
right.
it's your sweats in the house, then so be it. Whatever makes you feel good. So I feel like, I definitely feel like it's an individualized thing, and it's something that you just have to work on at your pace.
Mhm. Mhm. And I'm glad you said, call you for order. How do people get in contact with you? How do people do a fitting? What is that process
So I
even
do
like?
most of my ordering through social media. I am
Mhm.
working on a website now because like the amount of clientele I have is like extreme, and I don't
Mhm.
like talking so much. Just be like going crazy. So I am working on a website. But as of right now, my social media sites, my Facebook, Ieshia Icard, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And my social media is Khiata underscore Muslimah underscore wear on IG. And on
Mhm.
TikTok is Khiata, same thing, Khiata underscore Muslimah wear.
Mhm.
So that's how I do most of my stuff. So then we communicate some in my messenger. We schedule a fitting. Most of my garments you don't have to get fitted for unless you want something in particular that
Okay.
need specific. And so I usually go for your height, your shirt size, and your bra size. Like I
Okay.
said, out of 15 of those models, I only fitted 4 of them.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't fit nobody else. I just went off of pictures, off of seeing them.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't do no fittings for
That's
nobody else.
amazing.
Yeah, so it's usually just your bra size, your shirt size, and your height.
Because I mean, there was such a variety of models in
Hmm.
size as well as
Yes, and that's what
height.
I loved about it. Yes.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was
I had
amazing.
somebody that was 6'6".
Yes, you did.
That was the
Because
coolest thing ever. I was so excited about her height. She couldn't understand. I could not believe it. When I was on the measurements, I was like, I am going to kill this because
yes,
like she had the length. So what I
yes.
wanted her to wear was a full print and it fell perfectly on her.
Let, let me see if
So
I can find her because
yeah,
I kept. You
see,
remember what
that
she
was
had on?
yeah, she had on the orange chevron duster coat.
Okay, let me see if
Yeah.
I can find it. Yeah,
It was amazing. I was when I seen her, I was like, when I picked her, I was like, "You're wearing a coat." She was like, "Oh, a coat." I said, "Yes, a coat. I need a whole printed coat," and fell really good on her. But
yes.
I didn't get her height. I didn't like measure her. She just told me she was 6'6".
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
I kept looking. Y'all are gonna have to go to her page and look. I kept standing up because I said I have to see what size heel she has on because I was looking at her in proximity to
Nope. And they
the
were all barefoot. I made that
yeah,
nobody had on shoes.
right.
Barefoot. Everybody's barefoot. Nobody. You don't have to be shoes. You could be comfortable. You want to put on the little socky things. That's fine. The little flat little slippers. That's
Hmm.
fine too. But shoes aren't a requirement.
They killed it. So what happened, y'all? So the Love in My Curves fashion show was supposed to be outdoors. It ended up raining all day, so they had to make a quick move into the garage.
Mm.
And so it was a funky aesthetic. I liked
Yes,
it.
I love the
Yes.
runway in the parking lot. I
Yeah, it was
loved it.
fly. I
Yeah,
definitely felt like I was at like a Savage Fenty fashion show, right?
exactly, exactly. Yep.
So it was,
It was
and
really
so
nice.
you know how like in the parking garage it has a height limit to
Yep,
the cars that can go through.
yep,
So this
yep.
model that she was talking about was getting close to that height limit of the car, and I kept going, what size heel does this woman have on? But I
Yeah,
couldn't see from my angle. But now I'm
yep.
glad that you tell me
Yeah,
she
she was
was.
6'6"
Yeah.
by herself.
Yes,
Yep,
she was
yep.
fantastic. All your
Yeah, she
models
was
were
amazing.
fantastic.
They
Yeah,
were amazing. They did a really good job. The whole showcase was amazing. It was
yeah.
phenomenal. It was my first time actually ever showing my items, and it was something that I would never forget.
Wow. Well, I would have never thought it was your first time. I would have
I've
never thought.
never done a fashion show or anything like that. I've only been doing this for 2 years.
Wow. Go ahead,
Yep.
Shanae. What you got to say? Let,
Nothing.
fashionista.
Yep. So it was amazing.
That's incredible. Brother Mojo, I saw your eyes jump out of your head when she said 2 years. What went through your mind?
No, once again, it just comes down to believing in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing, don't let anyone take your joy away from you. That's one thing, right? Because there's people who always try to say, "Oh, you need more years behind you. You got to do this. You got to be an apprentice. You got to do this." Don't let anyone take your joy away from you. If you believe in what you're doing, and for me, if you have that spiritual base in there, if you have that spiritual foundation, let's go and let's do it. Let's believe in yourself. So when
Yep.
she said 2 years, I'm like, 2 years. She's in, this is Philly Fashion Week, loving your curve. This is like, so this is big. This is big down here in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 years. This some people wait like 5, 10 years before they get in a major fashion show. Here she is,
Mhm.
2 years doing this, and she's in a major fashion show already.
Yeah.
And it's just believing in yourself, knowing who you are. And when you
Yes.
look in the mirror, love what you see, and and let's keep on going. Don't let anyone take your joy away from you.
Brother Mojo, I'm so glad that you said that because, and Shanae, I'm coming to you with this one. That inner knowing, right? Because a lot of people get that tap that says, look, this is missing in the world, or you could do this, but they ignore it. They don't accept that call. But both of you heard that tap. You saw that question. Shanae, I've known you for years. You always got questions. But some of them questions, you, you get the answer and you stop. But this question that you had about maternal and mental health coming together and helping the family, you kept with it. What was it? How did you know that you had to keep seeing it through? What was that like for you? How was this question different than all the other questions that you asked?
I think because with this question, every time I got to an answer, it was a new question.
Mm-hmm.
So it kept me having to keep going. So it was like, oh, okay, I I did the doula stuff, and then it rolls into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Then it rolled into like, oh well, I'll do lactation treats because I cook and I bake anyway. So let me do lactation treats for moms who are struggling to have their milk supply coming or who need to keep up with their milk supply. And then it went to just branching out in different ways that I can offer support. I do babysitting.
Mm-hmm.
I do CPR training because you have a baby. So if you don't know what to do when a baby chokes, and now you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to look for an outside resource because your doula is a CPR instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like with every question that got answered, there was another question behind it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
You're welcome. And how about you, Ieshia? How did you know? Because you easily could have been like, oh, I'm going to take this outfit and I'm going to bedazzle it and call it a day. It didn't have to go and turn into a whole production, but it did. What was it about this tap that you said, I got to answer this call and I'm going to keep going with it? And now you're impacting so many people's lives.
So I have 5 children. I have a 23-year-old son. He's a firefighter in California. I
Mm,
have a 18-year-old daughter who's coming out of high school, who's getting ready to go into college for astrology. I have a 16-year-old daughter who wants to be a nurse, and a 14-year-old daughter who wants to be an anesthesiologist, and then I have a 2-year-old, my
oh, my
surprise kid.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and they were my pushing force. They still
Mm,
are my pushing force. To
mhm,
see the looks on my children's eyes when they see me coming home from work, because I have a 9 to 5,
okay.
and I'm pushing out orders after orders, and they're helping me package them up and do
Mhm,
labels and all that good stuff.
mhm,
And at the end of it, they're telling me like, "Mom, like you are the best. Like, Mom, I can't believe it. Like you're moving it and you're doing this and you're still keeping up with us and still, So if anything, which is everything for me, my driving force is my children,
mhm, mhm,
because I can't let them down, and I want them to see that you know keep your perspective and what you want to do ahead of you.
mhm,
Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. Don't put no limitations or no caps on yourself. Don't let this crazy world out here dictate what you want to do. Keep
mhm,
pushing. I said you can start at 40. You can start at 50. You can start at 75. There's no cap on
That's
when
right.
you can start at. So I've always been, I've did interior design, I've done hair, I've always had a creative niche. But this right here is a lot more personable because I have these 8 sets of eyes looking up at me to be great. Right? My son, he grown, he's in college, so I'm not talking about him, but the other 4 expecting me to be great no matter what. So ultimately, I just want to show them what it is to persevere. I want to show them what it is, and I take them through everything with me. It's nothing that they're not accessible to because I want them to be well-grounded children.
Yes.
So, with a time like this, when everything is just so influenced in social media and has such a strong hold, I just want them to be able to know that you can stand in a room of 1 million people and stand out, and
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
So that's my driving force. That's what keeps me going. And then on top of that, my customers, the people I encounter, the way they say they feel in my garments, that means so much to me because I love what I do. I love doing it. I love it. So something that I love, you love, like that's a big thing.
That's
So
love amplified.
yeah, right. So it's just like that's it. My children and the people that I come across.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me going.
I love
It's
it.
not
Ruby,
easy, but it keeps me going. Definitely.
I love it.
Definitely.
I knew you had something to say, Ruby. I could see it. You look like a proud mama sitting there.
No, you know what? It's I totally understand what she's saying. It's your kids, and it's when you're doing things for other people. Like I mentored 2 little girls, and when I see that excitement, that makes me want that pushes me to want to do more, to want to teach more, to want to do more books, to just do everything for them. So I totally get what she's saying. That's a force that you just can't fight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Brother Emoji, anything you want to add?
Well, I think, what we're talking about is generational wealth. Sometimes we think about generational wealth just about money, but generational wealth starts with knowledge. And
Yes.
what Aisha is talking about is she has passed on knowledge to her 5 children. And so and in doing that, she has removed the excuses to fail, some of the excuses to fail from them because they see mom doing it. So wait a minute, mom is doing this, and she has to take care of us, and she has still has a regular 9 to 5 job, and she has to do this. Yeah. So all of a sudden they look at what mom is like. If mom could do all this, and we just got to do 1 or 2 things, we could do this too. So when we talk about generational wealth, we must also look at the wisdom and the knowledge that comes from generational wealth and how we pass it on to our children. Because then they pass it to their children. That's where the generations, we talk about generational. So that's very important what we're talking about here, what Shanae's talking about, what Ruby said. I think we have to remember what generational wealth, we must look at all the angles of generational wealth on top of the money aspect of it because the knowledge is how you keep the money. If you have the right knowledge and understand the knowledge, you keep the money, right? Because if you don't have, it's easy to separate a fool from his money, right? So yeah, so congratulations on everything.
So my question for both of you is, what's next? What's next? This Aisha, this was your first fashion show and it was fabulous. Did that, Shanae talked about how every time she has an experience or has an answer, another question is asked and it pushes her to the next level. So Aisha, I'm going to start with you. What's next? And for those who are just joining us, notice please that Wellness from the Womb link is in the chat, as well as Khiata
Khiata.
Muslimah. Say it again.
Khiata.
Khiata
Hmm.
Muslimah,
Yes. Where? Yes.
where the link is also in the chat as well. I want you all to go to their site. The work is beautiful. Shanae has recently started doing these reels that are just so informative. So make sure you watch the reels, but also make sure you read the content because her information is content rich and very important. So All right. So what's next, Ieshia? What's coming up?
So next month, I am designing for 3 of the hosts for the FIFA's award plus size award ceremony.
Oh, you just trying to cut up.
Uh,
You
Congratulations.
get two.
Thank
You
you.
got two tambourines and one with some lights. Look.
Yes, I am designing for that award show. And I am now working on my website. Um, and who knows what's next? I actually got when well, backstage of the show, Project Oscar sent somebody to find me,
Uh-huh.
and told me that he would love to mentor me. So we don't know which way that's gonna go. I
Okay.
did reach out, which was amazing. But
Yes.
see me, so I have to get back more in tune, guys, because I haven't watched TV in 4 years.
Uh-huh.
So right
Uh-huh.
off the back, honestly, I didn't know who he was. But the fact that he came to talk to me, came and sought me out. We were still
Yes.
talking until after I talked to somebody, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I
Right.
couldn't, I couldn't believe it." But again, I haven't watched television in 4 years,
Yes.
so
Yes.
it was amazing. Like it was amazing. So who knows which way that's going to go. Just the mentorship. I'm never too old to get mentored. I'm never too old to learn. I love to learn every single day of my life, whatever it is.
Yes.
So that's what's up next. I'm getting ready to drop November my coat and heavy duster line.
Oh.
So that's what's next for Khiata Muslimah. We're getting us ready for these colder months.
As a 6 foot tall woman, I'm excited to see this line because I
Yes.
know it's something that I would be able to walk in and
Yes.
strut
Yes.
accordingly. All
Yes.
right.
Yes. So that's what's coming up.
That's what's up. All right, Shanae, what's coming up with you?
So for Wellness from the Womb, I'm working on an anthology book
Wow.
for parents from parents. Just offering advice, tips, and all its real raw and ridiculousness when it comes to raising kids. Um
Do
I'm
you
also,
still need some authors? Do you?
oh yeah, if anybody would like to submit for the book, your
Mm-hmm.
experience. So the chapters will be just from different perspectives, like a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, a grieving mom, a co-parent, married mom, dads too. Just different perspectives and experiences in those categories, and situations that kind of change your perception and how you dealt with it. It's basically, the concept is basically a book of advice from people who have already been there, that they can pass on to somebody else who may be in a similar situation. Because like I said, a lot of my clients were in similar situations, and I did start a mommy and me group because it was like, I'm hearing the same story from different people. I'm gonna just put all y'all in one room, and
Mm-hmm.
y'all could just talk and vent and support each other.
Right.
So it's that in book form,
Yes.
so you can have the privacy of, you might relate to a story without having to feel like you're being vulnerable and exposing your
Yes.
business to a stranger who you just met. Um, so yes, there's the anthology. I'm working on a nonprofit called
Mm-hmm.
LOL, Labor of Love, to offer
Mm-hmm.
support to people who are laboring, either alone, or young girls who are laboring. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then what else? Kat? What else I got going on?
What?
oh, I'm working on some community partnerships with hospitals, and
Yes.
different things in the community. And then also, my biggest thing is, I'm looking for a building to open a daycare that'll focus on social and emotional intelligence for children, with a therapeutic component to it.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. You get tambourine shakes too. It's a lot. Ruby, Edmund, any comments, any questions you have for these ladies as we're coming into the 5 minute close mark?
No, I just can't wait to go to their websites.
Uh-huh.
No, I just want to say congratulations. The only way we could build our community is by us doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
So if we don't like what we see in our community, then we need to make the change, and the change starts with us. And that's something I believe in. That's one of the things about Sisters in Harmony, not Sisters for Harmony. I
Mhm.
didn't like what I was seeing, and I did something about it. Ruben and I did something about it. So I say congratulations to them, because that's how we impact our community in a positive way, from the Ujima to the Ujima. That's how we
Mhm.
do that. So congratulations.
Mhm. And those in the chat room, do you have any words that you'd like to share with our ladies here? So I just want to pull up a couple. Dr. Wade said, literally fearless fashion. So I love that. Look, that could be a whole line within the line, right?
Right.
And then and then she also put here, our parents are our first role models. And
Yes.
that really speaks to both of you in the work that you're doing, within the home as well as outside of the home. So truly incredible. I thank you both for taking the time to speak with us. I thank you both for the work that you do in the world. It is so needed. And it's so encouraging. I think the work that you're doing and the fact that you chose to share it with us is so encouraging to others, because others have been getting the tap and the nudge, what I call the soul call. And some people don't always know when it's time to answer and the importance of answering. And you two sharing your stories this evening has shown them the importance of answering that call. So thank you so much for taking your time with us.
Mhm. Thank you for having me. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thank
Of
you.
course. All right. Well, we will definitely be checking out your websites. Like Ruby said, I know I'm going to be looking at those dusters. And, Shanae is part of my glam squad. I have 3 people who, oh, look at this. It's coming up in a moment. Here we go. This is a special one. Look at this, Ieshia, from Dr. Marquita Williams. She says, thank you for answering the soul call.
Hey, Dr. Fabulous.
Dr. Fabulous herself. She was
Yes,
checking us
yes.
out. Girl,
She
thank
is
you so
actually the
much.
reason why I did Philly Fashion Week.
Do tell. Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't. She had reached out to me. She had along with the other CEO, Nicole. Now I know her from we grew up together, but
Okay.
Dr. Marquita reached out to me in reference to ordering a duster.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't have no idea who she was until we started communicating back and forth, and it has been a pleasure ever since. But once she
Yes.
came to get fitted,
Yes.
she talked because I was under the impression that it required a lot more than what it did. And
Mm-hmm.
once I talked to her, it was like a village of folk. They came in and they just, nurtured me, loved up on me, like, girl, if you don't come on. So I'm
Yes.
like, oh, I have to do it. Like they encouraged me in so many ways. And I'm just so forever grateful for that interaction that her and I had, because I wouldn't have done it
Yes.
if it wasn't for our conversation. And it has been like amazing ever since then. It's so much deeper than a
Yeah.
customer
Yeah.
to business owner relationship at this point. I love
Real
her.
talk.
I'm grateful for her.
Real talk.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dr.
We love you, Dr. Fabulous. We
Yes.
do. We do.
Yes.
Go ahead, Brother Mojo. You were gonna
I'm
say?
saying, I'm listening to her talking. We're talking about generational wealth. That's what Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Makita's. She's not practicing. She's living it, because she's
Yeah.
taking what she has and she's passing the generational wealth and
Yes.
knowledge down the pipe to the next generation, to the next.
All the time.
So we thank Dr. Fabulous for doing that, for the
Yeah.
generational wealth that she's doing.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I usually only tell her. I met her when she was a student and she was just a few years older than me in school. And she did a workshop. I know she's sitting there like, no, she's not telling the story. Yes, I am. And she did a workshop on how to write your cover letters for internships. And I took my notes. I sat right there in that class and took my notes and put it to the side. And probably about 4 years later, when it was time for me to write my cover letters, I had my folder that said doctor. It said Marquita Williams, because she wasn't a doctor yet. It said Marquita Williams, and I took that folder out and I did exactly what she said, line by line. and I got my number one APA internship. And
Wow.
so she has always been a blessing in my life. So I know if she's touched your leg, she's like the fairy godmother. Actually, they should do like a
Yeah.
Cinderella, and she should come and she should play and had a little wand and everything.
Yeah. She is amazing. Yes, she
She
is.
touches. Yes, yes. All right, y'all. We've hit the 8 o'clock hour. We thank
Thank
everyone for joining us. We thank you,
you.
Shanae. We thank you, Ieshia,
Thank
Ruby,
you.
Edmund, as always, my co-host extraordinaire. Thank you as well. And for everyone listening, we wish you well. We ask that you continue to be blessed and guided by the one most high, and that you continue to live your greatest life. And until we meet again, peace and blessings to you all. Good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
Good night.